Hey, welcome back everybody. Great to see you this week, and hopefully we're having a wonderful one out there so far. Although we have had some active weather back home in the United States for a lot of folks, including really the big thing being rainfall. That is something that we've been picking up a lot of the past couple of days, and will continue to do so throughout the next couple of days, and really probably throughout the next week or so as well. Now, for all my regulars, this is going to be a little bit of a different type of video for you. I will still talk about general, normal, United States weather forecast for the next couple of days towards the end of the video. But we're going to start off talking about the tropics and, one, why it's been so quiet, and two, when is it going to wake up? That is going to really be a big theme for today's video. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We're trying to get to 10,000 on the channel before the end of hurricane season. Also, like the video and comment. Let me know where you're watching from and kind of what you're expecting for the rest of hurricane season. Also, I will add, if you are new to the channel, because we have gained a good 100 or so subscribers within the past week or two, I want to quickly kind of reintroduce myself for all of those of you that are new. My name is Gerald. I am a meteorology major at UNC Charlotte. I will be a junior this fall. Yeah, welcome to the channel. Again, we do a lot of weather things here, obviously. Also do some storm chasing, some podcasting, a little bit of everything in between. So if you're new, again, it means the world that you're willing to join me here. Yeah, so I think with all that said, we can go ahead and jump into that forecast. And again, we're going to start here talking about the tropics, actually. So right now, if we take a look at infrared satellite and kind of everything ongoing out there, things are relatively quiet. Now, we do have some pockets of some storminess, definitely to note here. We've got some just off the Gulf Coast here near Texas. We've got some here along the Gulf Stream between Florida and kind of off the coast of the Carolinas. We also have some more organized kind of waves out here towards the bottom right-hand side of your screen there, kind of working into the main development region of the Atlantic. So again, things, and I'll even circle another one here, things aren't completely quiet by any means, but the chance of development with all of these systems are relatively low. And it's been that way ever since Beryl made landfall in Texas a couple weeks ago. So I know before this season you probably heard a ton of hype, and I'm not even going to say that it was hype in the sense that it's fake, because there is a very real possibility that this hurricane season does get very active. But you're probably thinking, well, we're near the end of July now, and we just had Beryl as the only real impacting system. So what's going on? Well, currently, we have some conditions out there that are not super conducive, but I want you to know, let's kind of zoom out here and look at the big picture, and I'll see if I can even make this a little more viewable. Today, the day I'm recording this is July 23rd, so you'll notice here on this chart, if we kind of just draw where July 23rd is, it's right about here-ish. So this is where we're at in Atlantic hurricane season, and obviously, the y-axis here is activity or number of hurricanes and tropical storms that we've seen during these times of years, and then the x-axis is time here, and again, we're about where that black line is. So you'll notice everything before this is very calm, at least relatively speaking, compared to what's to come, climatologically speaking. So again, I don't want you to think that, well, the whole active hurricane season thing's a bust, it's not going to happen. Look, we've already, gone through almost all of July, and probably will go through the rest of July with only getting 3 named storms. Well, hold your horses, because we've got a lot of hurricane season left to go, and a lot of ingredients out there that are very conducive for tropical development throughout August, September, and October. So we've still got 3 full months to go here, and arguably the 3 most active full months as well. So Beryl was a bit of an anomaly, to say the least. Obviously, it could be a precursor to what's to come, but what we saw early in July and at the end of June there is just not normal. So I don't want you to think that that's going to set the tone for the season, that now that that's over and we're in this lull, that things are necessarily over with for the long haul. In fact, we got a lot of time to get through here before hurricane season is over. Now, why are things, so inactive right now? Why have things calmed down? Well, this map is really the telltale sign, and there's a couple other reasons, but Saharan dust is the #1 reason right now that we're seeing this big lull in activity. And for tropical storms and cyclones and hurricanes and typhoons, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world, for those systems to develop, they need a couple main ingredients. #1, moist air. And that is something we're really lacking right now. #2 would be low wind shear, also something that's kind of a bit iffy right now. We are seeing some wind shear out there. And then number 3, heat content from a body of water or an ocean. So we've got the last one. The last one's not a problem, but the first two currently are causing some issues here. And you'll notice on this map, look at these areas of orange and kind of yellow. These are pockets of dry air in the mid levels of the atmosphere, which is really squeezing or limiting any chance for precipitation to begin to develop and limiting that condensation that hurricanes feed off of and that latent heat release. So right now, again, we're just seeing a lot of dry air from the Caribbean all the way out through the main development region. We've got some more moist air through the Gulf and even into the Atlantic, but currently we've got some wind shear problems. Notice these areas of low pressure here, which I'll draw in a different color so you can see them a little bit better here. Notice we've got these pockets of drier air and wind shear even kind of getting thrown around this, and another kind of low pressure here causing some wind shear. So again, we've kind of got two big problems, and that's why we're not seeing much development, even though we are seeing, again, I'll circle them here, we are seeing some waves out here coming through the Atlantic. They just aren't in a ripe enough environment to really develop into anything much. So that's kind of the real inhibiting factor right now for current development. So let's take a look at this. This is the same map I just showed you, but it is a forecast model. So let's take a look at where this dry air is going to go and see, well, is it going to let up anytime soon? And if we take a look here, this is our GFS model, the latest run that we have. We'll move this through this week, and you'll notice we've still got these big pockets of dry air that are working on through the mid-levels, and that's going to, again, cause problems for any type of tropical development throughout this week. And even into the start of next week. We'll pause this. This gets us into the last couple days of July and into the first couple days of August, and watch what happens. We've still got this dry air just getting funneled off of the Saharan desert and into the Atlantic. Instead of kind of a train of tropical storms, we've got a train of dust right now. Which, all things considered, is not uncommon for this time of year. Again, I showed you the activity map, and this time of year is normally quiet. This is one of the main reasons why, is all of this Saharan dust that we often see getting thrown off of our deserts back out towards Africa and even through portions of southern Europe there, through Spain and Portugal, which have some pretty dry spots as well. So. Again, this is kind of the real inhibiting factor, and this is, again, getting all the way to the start of August. But I think after that, you'll notice a little bit that things could change. Again, this model kind of keeps that dust and that dry air all the way through even the first week of August. I think that's pretty realistic. But as we get further ahead into time, we get towards the middle of August and especially the end of August onward, I think things will relax a little bit, and I'll show you some reasons why here in just a moment. All right, let's also talk about another important ingredient for tropical development, and that is sea surface temperatures or ocean heat content to kind of help fuel these storms. And this is a map of daily sea surface temperatures in the North Atlantic for this year, last year, and then every other year since 1981. So that gets us about 40 or so years out. And you'll notice this year, I'll go ahead and show you, is our black line on the map, so I'll even draw it here a little bit. This kind of line right here, that's 2024. The orange line that you see is 2023, last year, and everything else are all the other years since 1980, and you'll notice we are running well above average sea surface temperatures compared to what we should be this time of year for the year 2024. And 2023 was the same story. You'll see that orange line there also was well above average sea surface temperatures. So this is one problem that we will not have for tropical development really throughout the entire year, outside of any upwelling from storms that form, which just is whenever basically a storm forms, it kind of mixes up the ocean, and some of that ocean heat kind of gets mixed back down to lower levels, and it's a little harder for hurricanes to feed off of it. But either way, right now the entire North Atlantic is running above average for what it should be, and again, that is more than enough to fuel these storms. In fact, it could fuel powerful hurricanes, major hurricanes, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Love this chart. And again, we had the same chart last year, and you might be thinking, well, last year wasn't all that active, but it only takes one storm. And for example, Hurricane Ian, I believe, was last year. If memory serves me correctly, Hurricane Lee was last year. These are hurricanes that, caused problems for a lot of folks off of this chart. And again, really fed off of those warm sea surface temperatures. So this is something we got to watch for. And you'll notice the general trajectory is still upward and will likely continue this trend throughout the rest of hurricane season. So that's one problem that we do not have. And once that wind shear and that dry air kind of calms down, it's really just a powder keg waiting to get lit by a match. There with the sea surface temperatures, and you can even see that on this map, these well above average, very warm temperatures here throughout much of the northern Atlantic, especially the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, and kind of areas around the Bahamas right in there. That's a real powder keg. Everywhere else it's hot, but in there it is kind of explosive, even to say the least. So, we'll need to watch out for that, and should a storm be able to get in there, could cause problems. Even Beryl, for example, again, got here into the Caribbean where we had these warm temperatures. Next thing you know, we had a record-breaking Category 5 hurricane at the earliest point at any time in Atlantic hurricane recorded history. So, again, a lot to kind of watch out for with that. All right, another map I'll show you. This kind of just shows where is the wind in the atmosphere favorable for thunderstorm development, and thus, kind of an ingredient to hurricanes here. So anywhere you see purple on this map, it's a little more favorable up in the upper parts of the atmosphere. We're seeing some divergence of the wind, meaning we get rising motion at the surface, and then again, more conducive for thunderstorm development. And generally, when you see that over the ocean this time of year, could lead to tropical development. So the red and orange colors, again, unfavorable. The purple colors are more favorable, indicating divergence aloft. So we'll watch for that here. This is this week. Again, you'll notice we are seeing a lot of convergence in spots here. Again, the Caribbean specifically seeing unfavorable conditions. And you might be wondering, well, we've got these other pockets of divergence. Why isn't that enough to cause some hurricane development? Well, sure, we've got the divergence, but we've still got that dry air to worry about, especially out here, the further into the Atlantic, kind of into the main development region specifically. So, again, this isn't the only metric, but it is one that we'll use. So this week, again, you'll notice still a lot of unfavorable conditions there in the red. And that kind of continues into next week a little bit even as well. But you'll notice as we move this towards the end of July and towards the start of August, and even really more the middle of August, I should say, not really the start of August, things calm down and we get much more divergence aloft here into portions of the main development region. Again, this is something that will be very interesting to watch, and I think this is a trend that makes sense. This is something we'll probably likely see once we get kind of the middle of August onward. We'll see more favorable conditions develop on this side of things. So this will be the wind shear side of things. That'll calm down. We will still have the very hot sea surface temperatures. Then the question is, well, what about dry air? And I think even dry air is going to simmer down a tad here. And this is a chart I love to use. This is straight from the experts at NOAA, at the Climate Prediction Center, Global Tropics Hazard Outlook, which I know you can't see the title, but that's what it says at the top. And this shows, again, where are we seeing favorable conditions for tropical development? And through the end of July, you'll notice up here in the top right of your screen, nothing. No green, no red. So rainfall will be at a minimum due to that dry air, and thus tropical development will be at a minimum. You'll notice, though, we get to the start of August and things get a little more active here. Not necessarily super active, but rainfall chances increase, and we then get at least some chance of tropical development here, although low, again, through that first week of August. So, again, things are going to start to pick back up a little bit here once we get towards the end of, or really just the start of August, I'll say. But once we really get towards the middle of August onward, I think things will really pick up. So about a month from now or so, probably even less than that, more like 3 weeks, things are really going to probably get a little bit more interesting. So that's the current thought process on the tropics. Again, in a bit of a lull, but things will, again, pick back up here, I think, going towards the middle of August especially, but chances will slowly increase from the start of August onward. Alrighty, so again, hopefully you enjoyed that little segment. If you did, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll make it a more common theme here in the videos in the future, while we're still in these kind of lulls and quieter patterns. But again, not completely in a lull, because we do have some severe weather to worry about today into the Carolinas and Virginia, specifically Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, up towards Richmond, and even up towards the DC area. And we had some feisty storms in here yesterday, even a couple that were rotating. And today, probably less chance of seeing rotating storms, but still could see some strong straight line winds in that green area on your map. And same story tomorrow up through the Great Lakes region, Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo, up into upstate New York even, could see some stronger storms tomorrow that could produce some strong straight line winds and maybe even an isolated tornado and some hail. Wouldn't completely shock me with this setup, so we'll be watching for that tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at this future radar, and let me go ahead and update this page just so we are fully up to date. And I'm going to quickly just make sure everything loads, and then we will start talking here. So this afternoon, more of the same, scattered showers and storms really anywhere it's possible, really anywhere in the eastern half of the country, but especially the southern tier here, Texas through Florida, through the Carolinas and Virginia. Again, widespread rain this afternoon. Although, again, I say widespread, that doesn't mean it's going to rain at your house specifically, but a good 50-60% of the map is going to see at least some form of rain, even if that's just 3 seconds of a shower, while some places are going to see not really any rain at all, and some people are going to see multiple inches of rain, and that's just, the summertime pattern. Unfortunately, that's how it works. I can't really give you a better, answer than that for if it's going to rain, but just know there is likelihood that it will, at least at your house or near your house. So again, you'll notice all those storms coming through this afternoon and evening. And again, some of these could be strong to severe in this area, right in here. So watch in there for, a couple areas of some strong straight line winds. Can't even rule out a little bit of hail or even a brief area of rotation, but nothing, to write home about. So watch out for that. Also going to be stormy up into the Midwest this afternoon, and you'll notice here we've kind of got a little bit of troughing showing up here, and this is actually an area of some troughing, funnily enough, up into the northern plains that is trying to work on through out of Canada, and luckily for you folks up into the Midwest and Northeast, this is going to swing on through and likely bring a little bit of drier, nicer air here later into the week. In fact, it's even uptrended a little bit, I think. So overnight tonight, though, again, storms continue through the Midwest, through the Northeast, through the Southeast. And by the time we're waking up for our Wednesday morning, widespread showers and storms through the Northeast, a little more quiet in the Southeast, still likely stormy though down near Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and probably even Florida. But tomorrow afternoon, again, going to get another burst of showers and storms for our Wednesday throughout the interior Northeast as this trough moves through. Again, could see some strong to severe storms really anywhere here in that circled area on your map, including a brief isolated tornado, I think, with this setup. We'll have some enhanced spin in the atmosphere due to the proximity to that low pressure. So we'll need to watch out for that for sure. But the good news is that swings on through the overnight Wednesday into Thursday, and behind it, notice this high pressure moving in. That's going to bring some drier, cooler air, and you can see that very well on our dew point map. Again, it's muggy right now, it's muggy tomorrow, but behind that, notice what happens going into Thursday and Friday morning especially. This pocket of drier air swings on through the Northeast, even the northern Ohio River Valley and portions of the Midwest, specifically Michigan, Wisconsin, and kind of Indiana, Illinois there, are going to get in on some drier, nicer air. So again, a break from the heat again. You guys just had one a week or so ago. We're going to do it again this weekend. So get out there and enjoy that. Dew points again could get as low as the 40s for our higher terrains up into the Northeast this Friday. So again, beautiful outdoor weather for summertime. Cannot complain. Unfortunately, those of us in the Southeast and the Mid-South, it's still going to be hot. It's still going to be muggy. But you'll notice that dry air hangs around for a little bit, and even this weekend, don't be surprised. As far south as Virginia, maybe even Raleigh, Greensboro, we could get a little bit of a backdoor cold front here that tries to swing on through and, again, cool things down, at least in the humidity department. It'll still be hot, obviously, but, we'll enjoy any bit of dry air we can get, and that tries to hang on even through early next week a little bit, but by the time we get to the middle part of next week, and later next week, the heat really cranks back up here, and look at these dew points. No fun for anybody. So again, we'll be watching out for that. All right, rainfall, again, it's going to be rainy the next couple of days, although getting into this weekend, drying out into portions of the Midwest and the Northeast. Again, this kind of circled area where that high pressure moves in, we're going to see drier, nicer conditions, and that includes a lack of rainfall going into the weekend. South of there through the Southeast, still stormy, but I think less than we've seen. I think it'll become a little more scattered in nature throughout the week here, and that will continue into next week. But Again, just know I think rain chances obviously still there, but getting a little less widespread every day here into the future. So we'll watch out for that. Again, though, still plenty of rain on the way throughout the next week, especially through the Texas Gulf Coast and portions of the Carolinas, where a couple inches of rain could fall, especially isolated spots that get some training thunderstorms. Could even see half a foot of rain, which luckily going to put a dent in that drought, but could cause some flooding issues. So we will watch out for that. Alrighty, folks. Well, again, I appreciate you hanging in there. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Again, comment and let me know you're new. Always fun to engage with new folks. But with that said, I appreciate y'all watching. Have a great rest of your Tuesday it is, and I will see you all tomorrow.